Hey, greetings everyone. Dennis Easter here. This video is a little bit different because it's meant not only for the congregation I'm currently serving, the Pasadena Foursquare Church, in a pastoral transition, but it's also meant for my colleagues who are leading organizations through revitalization efforts or maybe even turning around situations that are in very difficult circumstances. I'm hoping that what I've learned over the decades and what I'm putting into practice here now in the church may serve all of us really well. Let me start with a time-tested word of wisdom that many of you have heard. You must become the change you seek. Let me put it a different way from an author named Robert Quinn, who wrote a book called Deep Change. His argument is either we will go through deep change or slow death, and there is no other option. Pretty stark words, isn't it? Well, when he was writing that book, many leaders that I know of who are leading organizational change have kind of used this book as a kind of a cover, as it were, for the radical transformation they are working in an organization, in a sense to really justify what they are doing and why they are doing it. And while many organizations actually need a serious transformational shock in order to survive, Robert Quinn didn't really write this book to give cover to leaders to blow up organizations overnight. The author's intent was really something differently. He was referring not to organizations going through deep change or slow death, but that those who lead organizations must go through deep change, or slow death will occur to the organization. You see, the leaders themselves have to be ready for transformation in order to lead transformation. So if you're going to lead an organization through deep change, as a leader and those surrounding you who lead the organization, they must also be willing to embrace the deep change that God is calling them to. It is only deeply changed leaders who can lead deep change in any organization they lead. For then the change is not the result of an imposition of their preferences, but the discovery of what that organization or church really needs. And in the latter case, where God is wanting to and committed to disclosing. Management guru Peter Drucker once said these words: "The role of a leader is not to ask, what do I want, but what does this organization need?" Our agenda, you see, in serving an organization through change, it arises from the context. There's too much insight that comes from being on site to be ignored. What we tend to do is come with prepackaged formulas of how organizations can change, and then we seek to impose those changes upon the organization without any reference to the discovery and the context or the change that we must go through to lead this effort in a way that's God-honoring and truly transformational. Well, it's about stewarding. That's what I'm really saying is, as a leader, you have the responsibility to steward the privilege of leading change in an organization, moving from a pre-tested formula to a patient, listening, servant-oriented process of discerning the unique kingdom contribution of that church or organization. It's a discovery that you must learn to not only make, but then live into. My own journey has taken me to, well, over the last 5 decades, several churches, a couple of district roles in our denomination, Foursquare, and now in my current assignment in Pasadena Foursquare, where real change is needed. And while I have developed a reputation as a turnaround kind of leader, I have discovered early in the process that whatever change others anticipated or hoped I would bring, I had to personally be ready for the change that would happen in me as I led that change. So in essence, I never arrived as someone to lead change from just who I was up until that moment. But once I was involved in the process of change in that organization, then I needed to welcome the change that would happen in me to lead that process correctly. And the change I experience by being on site makes me become the leader with all of my experience ready to lead the change in that current context. So you want to lead change in an organization? Good for you. But you got to be ready for some deep change yourself. You've got to be ready to become the change you seek. So here you are. You have to authentically listen to the concerns and hopes, and that requires a very patient process. But it's the only way I know of to arrive at what God desires for people. See, that's what we're doing here in Pasadena. The pastoral transition we are going through is filled with both hopes and fears of what this new reality will bring. But the patient process of discerning what God is into and up to in this moment and welcoming the change in my own life as a leader as I attend to this sacred time is what gives us hope that the future we arrive at is in fact the one we're supposed to be at. So here I am at 73, embracing personal change and how I think, how I lead, how I love, and how I serve. And when I'm concluded here at the Pasadena Foursquare Church, I believe we will, in fact, be where God wants us to be. And when we are concluded, I believe I will be a better person. I will be a better leader, and I will be a better Christ follower because I was honored to lead this journey and embrace the change that God was going to use in this journey to work in me. If you're one who's been given the honor of leading change in an organization, just remember, you must first become the change you seek. Rest in peace.